Hi everyone, this is Dr. Chinmay Bhatt, Assistant Professor of Chemistry. In this session, we will learn about special technique in organic synthesis, that is phase transfer catalysis. Okay, now you try to understand the meaning of this term, that is phase transfer catalysis. I think all of you know what is phase, what is transfer, and what is catalysis. Phase means something you can identify with certain boundary. In water there are three phases which it can show, like liquid phase, vapor phase, solid phase. So now we can understand water if you consider, or aqueous in organic chemistry. Aqueous phase we call it as aqueous medium, and organic medium we will call it as its organic phase. All of you know, to run a reaction, all the reactants should be dissolved and the solution should be homogeneous if you want to do any organic reactions in general. But as you already know, special techniques are different than these conventional methods. Now this making homogeneous solution and making the reaction feasible in a homogeneous organic medium is a conventional method. Now what is this phase transfer catalysis, which is a special techniques in organic synthesis? Now as the term describes, this special technique is something which is different than the conventional. Now try to understand. I will explain this phase transfer catalysis in a simple way. In a conventional method, you make the solution homogeneous. For running an organic synthesis, you do it in organic medium, and in that homogeneous medium, homogeneous solution, all the reactants are dissolved and you can carry out the reaction. But you imagine a situation where one of the reactants is not at all soluble in the organic medium. Any organic solvent you put, that solubility is poor, the common organic solvent when you use. At that time, what will you do? You add some aqueous, you add some water, because that reactant which is not soluble in organic medium generally will be soluble in water. That insolubility in organic medium may be because of its polar nature, high polar nature. So now when you add water, that reactant will be soluble in aqueous phase. Now imagine the situation. You can see it here. You want to do this particular reaction. I am explaining this with an example. You have 1 bromooctane. You want to do nucleophilic substitution. Okay, you want to displace this bromide by cyanide. So you carry out the reaction. Okay, you just mix this and this, and then you try to make a substitution in an organic medium. It doesn't happen. Why? Because sodium cyanide is completely insoluble in organic medium, in the common solvent when you use. Of course, in DMF, DMSO, to some extent sodium cyanide will be soluble. But when you use common solvent, especially for 1 bromooctane, you have to use non-polar solvent like benzene, toluene, or certain solvent like, or it itself can act as a solvent, 1 bromooctane. Under that condition, the reaction won't happen. But when you add water, now this will be soluble. See here, you added water, added with water. Now sodium cyanide goes to aqueous phase. Now imagine the situation here. Sodium cyanide will be in aqueous phase, and this bromooctane will be in the organic phase. Is it possible to react? Because it's biphasic. Water won't dissolve in organic medium. Organic and water, it will form two layers, separate layers. It cannot mix. So what will happen? Both these will remain in different phases. This will remain in aqueous phase, this will remain in organic phase. They cannot mutually collide. They cannot come in contact directly for the collision so as to make the reaction possible. So what will you do now? You add something which can dissolve this in organic medium, or can take out cyanide from the aqueous phase to organic phase and then do the substitution reaction here, then make the reaction possible. So whatever you add in order to change the problem of biphasic medium and make the reaction feasible, and which can transfer, try to understand this term, something which you add can transfer this from aqueous to organic phase, so that is called phase transfer catalyst. So you are adding a catalyst, that is phase transfer catalyst, that will transfer one of the reagents from one phase to another phase, normally from aqueous to organic phase, and make the reaction in the organic medium possible, and throws back the one which got liberated in the organic medium to the aqueous medium, that is called phase transfer catalyst. Okay, now you try to understand the phase transfer catalyst, or PTC it is called in short form, is a catalyst that facilitates the migration of a reactant from one phase into another phase where reaction will occur. So phase transfer catalysis is a special form of heterogeneous catalysis which makes use of PTC. So phase transfer catalysis is a phenomenon where you use phase transfer catalyst. So phase transfer catalyst is the one which can take one of the reagents from one phase to another phase so as to make the reaction possible. Okay, this is in very simple words I have explained it. So you can see lots of animation. Sorry, I couldn't include all those because of poor network area. So, but you can just go through lots of animation where you can find phase transfer catalysis, how exactly it works. So phase transfer catalysis is a phenomenon you have understood which can transfer the phase from, which makes use of some catalyst, that is called phase transfer catalyst, and makes the transfer of the reagent from one phase to another phase. These things you should keep in mind. An effective phase transfer catalyst must have hydrophilic character and hydrophobic character. Both it should have, because now this is phase transfer catalyst here which I have added in order to make this reaction plausible. Now this should have both electrophilic and hydrophilic, not electrophilic, sorry, hydrophilic character as well as hydrophobic character. Why? What do you mean by hydrophilic character? The one which loves water. Hydrophilic. It loves, philic means love, hydro means, aqueous. One which loves aqueous phase, that is hydrophilic. What is hydrophobic? Something which is against water. That means it loves organic phase, hydrophobic. It should have both the characters. It should dissolve in water as well as organic medium. Then only it can transfer one reagent from one phase to another phase. So here, imagine this reaction. You are doing this nucleophilic substitution reaction. It's a classical SN2 reaction. You have added quaternary phosphonium salt. Quaternary phosphonium, sometimes quaternary ammonium. There are different types. We added this salt. Now what happened? You got the substitution product after SN2 substitution reaction, and sodium bromide is the side product or the byproduct of this reaction. So what happens? Look at this reaction. This alkyl bromide you added with phosphonium salt. Okay. Now this is in organic medium. This is in aqueous medium, that is sodium cyanide. What this alkyl bromide will do? It will exchange this cyanide with the bromide. Now this is soluble in both the places, organic as well as inorganic. This will take this cyanide and will go to organic phase. So now bromide is liberated to aqueous. It is soluble in aqueous mode. Now cyanide in the form of this salt has come to the organic phase, will do SN2 reaction by attacking at this carbon. Bromide is getting eliminated. Now it will take up this bromide. So it has made this cyanide substitution possible. Now you can see the substituted product, and it has liberated bromide. Okay, bromide will be given to this aqueous phase. Okay, this is what, in a simple way, if I want to explain. You can see the formation of this one you added, and that one is only regenerated. That's why it is catalysis. So you started with this only it is regenerated. Okay, the catalyst, you can understand the term catalyst meaning. It has to be catalytic about, it should be regenerated at the end of the reaction. It is regenerated. This is the basic principle of phase transfer catalysis. Same which I explained here. I have explained with one example here, but here it is with another example where you are making it in general. RCl you want to convert to RCN, so you add a certain phase transfer catalyst. So what will happen? This is what is explained here. Okay, and the same thing is shown here in an SN2 reaction. So I have shown it with typical reaction medium where you can carry out the reaction, especially in round bottom flask or in conical flask. When you do SN2 reaction, when you start stirring at certain temperature, so you have alkyl halide and added cyanide, you have to add certain salt. So this salt, as I already told you, it can be phosphonium, iodide, bromide or chloride, or it can be ammonium salt. So this one, the nature of this, you can understand. This is hydrophilic as well as hydrophobic character it has. So this is what we have done. I can consider this as a case study. So you have these two reactants. You want to do nucleophilic substitution, SN2 substitution. Initially you take these two reactants and add DCM, make it monophasic, but sodium cyanide will be insoluble, reaction won't happen. Then you take out DCM, these two reactants you mix in water, sodium cyanide will be soluble but not this halide, again reaction won't happen. Now you add DCM and water both, stir it, see whether reaction will happen. You have biphasic, this will remain in water phase, this will remain in organic phase, again the collision is not possible, correct? There is a solubility now, both will dissolve, but both won't collide because they remain in the different phase. Again the reaction is not possible. So again the reaction won't take place. Now what you do, you have biphasic, to that you add tetrabutyl ammonium chloride or tetrabutyl ammonium tetrabutyl phosphonium iodide, phosphonium chloride, any PTC you add, phase transfer catalyst. Then what happens? Reaction will take place. So you get the SN2 product. Now you can realize the importance of this phase transfer catalyst. So this is the principle of phase transfer catalyst, first developed by Makazawa. So you can go through this. So it's again the straightforward, and this is what I have already explained here. So they have considered for the general reaction, organic phase, phase boundary, aqueous phase, and this phase transfer catalysis will take place because of the transfer of reactant, one of the reactants, by making use of this catalyst. So this is what the nature of the catalyst. So please keep this in mind. Keep this point in mind. They should have both hydrophobic and hydrophilic nature. So as I already told you in the introduction, hydrophobic is nothing but something which loves organic. Hydrophilic is something which loves water. You can see this salt, ammonium salt. This is, of course, it is ionic and it loves water. And this is, this alkyl, they are all hydrophobic. So that part will tend towards organic. Now this catalyst in total has solubility in organic as well as water phase or aqueous phase. So this is what is already explained. So now you add this kind of phosphonium or tetraalkyl ammonium salt. This is how you can exactly carry out the reaction, because usually carry out in round bottom flask or some conical flask. So this is what I have shown again. So this is the general mechanism, that how exactly it has taken place, and we will see what are the types of PTC, phase transfer catalysis. Okay, So there are basically there are three types of phase transfer catalysis. One is quaternary ammonium salt, then organic phosphonium salt. These two we have already seen here in the last examples, how quaternary ammonium salt, phosphonium salts are used as phase transfer catalyst, and crown ether, third one is. So in the syllabus, the types, preparation and application is there. First we will see quaternary ammonium salt. You already know it. Quaternary ammonium salts, they are the salts of amines. They can be hydrochloride, hydrobromide or hydroiodide, whatever. You can see it here, benzyl triethyl ammonium chloride and methyl octyl ammonium chloride. So this is methyl tributyl ammonium chloride. So you can see the structure. One is hydrophobic and another one is hydrophilic end. These are some of the other examples: tetramethyl ammonium bromide, fluoride, tetramethyl ammonium hydroxide. They have different applications. So how it can be synthesized? You know it. I think long ago you have studied how to prepare tetraalkyl ammonium salts. You take any alkyl halide, you do react with amines by excessive amination or exhaustive amination. It is an excess. I mean, you add alkyl bromide in excess, then this alkylation will take place, one by one. Like, initially it will undergo primary to secondary, secondary to tertiary, tertiary to quaternary. You will get quaternary ammonium salts. Okay, this is how it can be prepared in general. These are some of the applications. You have already seen that application in SN2 reaction, and it is most commonly used in SN2 reaction. You can see it here. So this reaction you want to carry out, you want to CO minus, you want to attack here and take out this chloride out. But this is soluble in aqueous phase, this is in organic phase. So you have to add certain thing which can make this soluble. Okay. So this is how this reaction is done. Okay, the phase transfer catalyst benzyl triethyl ammonium chloride is formed in situ by the addition of triethylamine. Try to note this point. Triethylamine is already tertiary amine, so you added with this. Now again this will undergo substitution reaction, so it will get corresponding salt. Cl minus will go and this is attacked by benzyl. So this will act as a phase transfer catalyst. Now once a phase transfer catalyst is formed, because it is required in catalytic abort, the rest of this can act as a reagent. So this will go and attack on this chloride and it will make the substitution and you will get COBN. Instead of CONA you have COBN. This is a very nice example of formation of phase transfer catalyst in situ. Okay, it was reported in Indian Chemistry, some journal, 1946. Then another one is this formation of dichlorocyclopropane, 1,1-dichloro, by making use of this phase transfer catalyst. So this is a typical SN2 reaction which you have already seen. So you can see it here, water or you add only some organic solvent. Here this itself can act as an organic solvent. Reaction does not take place, but when you add 1 weight percent, I mean very little amount of catalyst, phase transfer catalyst, that is R4N plus, how the reaction will take place. Any halide you can consider here, X minus. So these are some other reactions. So O-alkylation here by making use of some tetramethyl ammonium bromide, and this another oxidation reaction. This is a very interesting reaction, KMNO4 reaction. Different type of PTC can be used here. One of them which is used is here tetraalkyl ammonium salt. You can also make use of crown ether. I will explain it in the later part of this video. Second one is organic phosphonium salt. This is similar to organic ammonium salt. Here instead of N you have phosphorus. And how this can be prepared? An example is shown here how this can be used in some interesting reaction, how phosphonium salt is used. Sulfur is getting inserted by two alkyl groups, that is substitution reaction type it is again, because it is S2 minus, so it is attacking, so it will attack with two alkyl halides. So you will get di-substituted product. This is one typical example to show the importance of it. And preparation is again, similar to amines. Instead of taking primary, phosphoname, all those things, the commercially available trialkyl phosphide you start with. Then you do substitution reaction with alkyl halide in the presence of some inert solvent like benzene, toluene, or sometimes if you want to increase the polarity, dry THF, dry diethyl ether also you can use. You will get further substitution and you will get this salt. These are some of the examples. This you have already seen how that phosphoname salt will work, and how this mechanism is similar to one which we have already seen. And the last one is crown ethers. I think all of you know about the crown ethers. You must have studied in the previous classes. Crown ethers are those in which ethers are in the crown shape. So that's why it is called crown ether. They are cyclic ethers with 2, 3, 4 oxygens. How they are named? 12 crown 4. 12 crown 4 means what? 12 means total number of atoms. I mean elements, carbon, oxygen, like that. So total number of carbons and oxygen, it will be total number of carbon plus oxygen. Now it will be 8 plus 4, 12. Don't consider hydrogen here. Elements means only carbon and oxygen elements. They are considered. For 8 plus 4 it is 12. 12 crown 4 means 4 oxygens. Total it is 12. Crown 4. Here total it is 18. So oxygens are 6. 6 plus 12. So it is 18. So like that. 18 crown 6. How this will act as a phase transfer catalyst? You can see this in the example. First of all, we will see how to prepare this phase transfer catalyst. You know this reaction. I mean, it's an alkylation. It's a modified Williamson ether synthesis. So you do the ether synthesis here, but modified method. Simple substitution reaction, it will give you this. You can use it for other ethers too, cyclic ethers. A very good example of making use of crown ether is for oxidation reactions. As I already told you, KMnO4 oxidation. You can add slight amount of crown ether. So how it works? It traps K+. You can see it here. This is one PTC which when used with K+, because you know the nature of KMnO4, it is not organic soluble. It is soluble only in the aqueous phase. In water it easily dissolves. But if you want to make it organic soluble, K+ you trap it. Then MnO4 minus is freely liberated. Now it can be carried out by the organic phase available for oxidation reaction. Because K+ doesn't have any role in oxidation. Only MnO4 minus has. Because that will form bond with double bond, triple bond and all. This is one example where we can use it for substitution reaction also. This is one which can be used for trapping cations. You can watch this video for better understanding how exactly this KMnO4 works. So what is taken? This is crown ether, this is KMnO4, 18 crown 6. So they have kept the stirrer and now they are adding some solvent, organic solvent like benzene. KMnO4 is not soluble in benzene. Okay, you can see it here. We added KMnO4, see, it remains at the bottom because it is not soluble. You can see there is no changing color. We have increased the stirring rate even then there is no change. So now he adds pinch of crown ether. Now you see how the color of benzene will change. dissolving. It is getting dissolved. That means it is coming into that organic phase. It has formed this complex with the K plus. Can you see? It's getting dissolved. Hope you have enjoyed this video, because this video simply explains how crown ether makes KMnO4 soluble in organic solvent like benzene. So these are some of the applications of crown ether. So the substitution reaction you are doing, substitution of chloride by iodide using 18 crown 6. So now we'll see what are the advantages of PTC. So you can read this in the study material. Minimization of industrial waste, of course, because the wastes are minimized here, because you are using this catalyst, and catalyst can regenerate, can be regenerated, and the reaction will be possible. Side products will be minimized, and reactivity and selectivity is a bit higher. It is less dangerous, of course. It doesn't have any any explosive effect or any kind of unwanted reactions. No, it doesn't have. It usually gives high yields and highly pure product, but I don't totally agree with this kind of statement, because it depends on reactions, what kind of reaction you are doing. Because tomorrow if you go to industry and someone asks you to put some reaction, if you just try with the PTC, doesn't mean that it will give high yield and high purity. It has to be optimized. After the optimizing all other parameters, you can say PTC gives high yields and purity of products. Less inconvenient and expensive organic solvent. Less inconvenient and expensive organic solvents. It is not that inconvenient, so it is less inconvenient, and you don't use high or expensive organic solvent. That is also less. Low energy consumption. I mean, these are the general statement. You can read it. Simplicity of technology, possibility to mimic counter current process. And there are some disadvantages. It is cumbersome separation and recycling of catalyst. This is very true. Catalyst is regenerated in the reaction medium, but you cannot take it out after the reaction. Catalyst will be lost. It is too hard. I mean, because you are using in milligram scale. Okay, you don't use at large, gram scale or something. Milligram, pinch of salt. We have seen that crown ether, how much is added to that much of KMnO4 and benzene. So there is no point in recovering that, and recovering is more costlier than leaving it out. So better you give it up. So you can't recover the catalyst. Poor yield sometimes. This is what this contradicts this statement. As I already told you, that yield depends on what kind of reaction. But 50% time, or more than 50% time, you end up with poor yields, because problem with the solubility is very much different. Even though you add PTC, it won't become homogeneous, so there is always some loss in yield. Longer reaction time. This is because of improper mixing. Mixing won't be proper even after adding PTC to the reaction mixture. That's why the reaction time will be elongated. Heat transfer problems will be there. Yes, low selectivity products. Selectivity won't be that high. Here it is told selectivity is a bit high, but here it is told selectivity is low. That all depends on many other parameters. So you don't consider this very much seriously. So 3-4 points you can remember from the examination point of view. So these are some of the references, and along with that you have many online resources. Please go through some interesting videos in YouTube. Thank you for watching.